NJN News for Friday, April 25th. Democratic U.S. Senate candidate Rob Andrews got a boost from organized labor today. CWA Local 1034 endorsed the congressman. The local represents 16,000 government and private sector workers. Its leaders praised Andrews for his record on labor issues, calling him a champion of workers' rights. On the Republican side of the Senate primary battles, Ramapo College professor Murray Sabrin launched his first television ad today. He calls for conservative solutions to a host of challenges ranging from immigration and education to lowering the tax burden.
Conservative solutions to these serious problems. Here's the Sabrin solution. First, we must secure our borders from foreign terrorists and illegal immigrants. Next, we must secure our economic well-being by getting government off our backs and out of our wallets.
The 30-second ad is slated to run on cable television outlets. State parks will stay open as long as you don't skinny dip or spend the night. In a testy budget season, one state assemblyman puts college presidents to the test and flunks them. The Democratic Senate primary goes beyond testy, tilting toward the downright nasty, while there's no love lost on the Republican side. And the state attorney general's office tries to muscle its way into the corruption-busting game. Hello and welcome to Reporters Roundtable. I'm Jim Hooker, sitting in for Michael Aaron. Joining us are four State House reporters who are often put to the test, covering the political beat, and who pass with flying colors, we might add. Cindy Burton of the Philadelphia Inquirer, Jonathan Tamari of Gannett, New Jersey, John Reitmeyer of the Bergen Record, and Matt Friedman of PolitickerNJ.com. Turning to the U.S. Senate primary, Democrat Frank Lautenberg released the first television ad of the primary season this week. It centered on what much of the campaigns of Lautenberg and his challenger, 1st District Congressman Rob Andrews, have been about, chiefly the war in Iraq. Has this issue put Andrews on the defensive? We'll take a look.
They conspired on the worst policy blunder in American history, built on lies and arrogance. One New Jersey Democrat helped them, Congressman Rob Andrews. Andrews co-wrote the misleading war resolution, twisted arms for support, and almost 2 years later, Andrews stubbornly insisted going to war was the right decision. Congressman Andrews helped get us into Iraq. Senator Lautenberg is fighting to get us out.
I'm Senator Frank Lautenberg, and I approve this message.
All right, later that day, Congressman Andrews held a press conference on the steps of the War Memorial, or that day he did, to get his point of view out the next day. Cindy, how did he do? How does the commercial play? What are your thoughts?
Well, the commercial is very effective, and if Frank Lautenberg keeps pushing it on the air, particularly in the southern part of the state where Rob Andrews' base is, it could be harmful to Andrews. I would like to note that both of them initially did support the war. Now both of them want us to get out.
Okay. Matt, you've been following this closely.
Right. This is sort of a one-issue campaign on each side. For Frank Lautenberg, it's just going to be Iraq, Iraq, Iraq for the next 2 months, and or however long it is before the primary, less than 2 months. I think that with Andrews, really, he went to that press conference to try to get in front of this issue to say, you know, let's not focus on the past, let's focus on who has the plan to get out of here. But Andrews' campaign main issue going on is going to be, hey, by the way, did you hear Frank Lautenberg is 84 years old? Can't say that outright, but that's the whole implication with this talk of change.
You could, but he's chosen not to.
Right, and you have to be careful with something like that. But talk of change and energy, it's really euphemisms.
Right, all right. John or Jonathan? Jonathan.
What about it? The overall, I mean, the issue for, I mean, Frank Lautenberg did say at the time of the war that he supported it, but he was campaigning at that time. He's never actually had to go and cast a vote, so it's going to be difficult for Andrews to counter on this specific issue.
John.
And also, I think the role that Andrews played, that Lautenberg's highlighting, if campaigns are about parsing it down, and I think that's where the difference is.
All right. Now, also this week, there were 3 Republican primary candidates debated: Murray Sabrin, Joe Panaccio, the state senator, and Dick Zimmer, the new statewide candidate. Matt and Cindy were both there. How did that go? We were there too, NJN News, and I saw some of what the debate was about. It looked like there was a little bit of at each other's throats, but Zach Fink, our reporter, said mostly it was issues. Do either one of you want to pronounce a winner or tell us about the overall tone or what it says about the Republican Senate primary at this point?
Well, I wouldn't go as far as to pronounce a winner, but Murray Sabrin pronounced himself a winner in the press release the next day.
Well, they all pronounce themselves winners, right?
Exactly.
Or their handlers
well,
do.
he was the only one who said outright that he was. But
okay.
I would say that this was Joe Panaccio and Murray Sabrin. There's been a lot of bitter feelings building up right there, and you saw it kind of bubble over during that debate where Dick Zimmer, the new guy into the race, was actually sitting between them, thank God, because I don't know what would have happened if he wasn't there. No, but really, it was mainly an issues-based, and they had very different takes on a lot of issues, and I thought it was really interesting to get that contrast. Zimmer, very moderate, emphasizing his pork-busting credentials. Sabrin, you know, his usual interesting take on the economy, which wasn't really a main focus of it, but was brought up, and Joe Panaccio had his own takes as well. It was very, very contrasted on issues and hot-button issues like abortion and defense as well.
And Panaccio and Sabrin were both they're both oppose abortion, and Zimmer is pro-choice, right, on that score. Cindy, what did you make of the debate?
Well, I thought that each of the three was trying to stake out the right as much as they could, because that's who votes in a Republican primary. They tend to be more conservative than the rest of the party, which comes out to vote in the fall. And I think they each did a good job at it. It's just that the polling shows that fewer than 20% of the people know who they are. Now, Zimmer, I'm not aware of any poll with him yet, any independent poll about him. And it will be interesting to see how the survivor of this primary runs up against a Lautenberg or Andrews in the fall.
All right, and we'll be watching that. Let's turn to Mr. Murphy. Mr. Murphy, you talked about you're not an organization guy. You are on the line, correct me if I'm wrong, with U.S. Senate candidate Murray Sabrin.
That's correct.
Who was a former libertarian and is now running in the Senate primary. Would you say you're more of a libertarian stripe, or why did you want to be on a line with Murray Sabrin?
Well, I'm a Reagan Republican endorsed by Brett Schunder. That's how I pronounce myself this campaign. I'm very happy and honored to be with Dr. Sabrin. We have a great deal in common as far as limiting the scope of government in our lives, reducing the cost of government, using businesses and technology to find innovative and creative solutions. We're both pro-Second Amendment. We're both pro-life. I'm very happy to be with him. In fact, we have slates in both counties, Ocean and Burlington.
Welcome back to Power and Politics. I'm Laura Jones. Jim McQueenie. I got spring fever. He's jet lagged.
Right, coming out of jet lag from a West Coast trip. Anyway, let's go to the final block here.
You know what they're saying? We're going to hear right now, because the Republican candidates for Senate took part in a debate this past week at Fairleigh Dickinson University, sponsored by Public Mind Poll and moderated by the Star Ledger's Paul Mulshine. We've got some sound. First, Dick Zimmer. And that's on.
One of the top problems that we face is that our combined tax burden in the state of New Jersey is the third highest in the country. And we have a senator who does not represent us as an effective advocate in Washington, D.C. to deal with our economic burdens. I believe that you should keep your money in your own pocket, not send it to Washington, to be diverted to other states.
Or that was Dick Zimmer on New Jersey sending money back to Washington, D.C. and not getting it back. Right. Next round we have from Joe Panaccio, and this is on immigration.
The second point of the promise and vision is to close our borders down. We have zero credibility when it comes to homeland security, zero if we have a porous border. That's probably the most important aspect of closing our borders now.
All right, and the third candidate, Sabrin, on the cost of the war.
The cost of the Iraq situation has been estimated to be about $500 billion. And there's a brand new book claiming that if we stay in Iraq and Afghanistan a few more years, the cost to the American people will be $3 trillion. That's an enormous sum that the American people have paid in blood and treasure to stabilize one country. I propose that the Iraqi people have to take care of their own security just like every other nation in the world.
And a little humor also in the debate. Murray Sabrin was asked if McCain loses, who would he prefer, Barack or Hillary?
If John McCain loses, who would you rather see as president, Hillary or Barack?
Very unept.
You're asking me do I prefer getting hit by a truck or a bus?